Hello everyone. So as we all know that NEET PG and INICET exam is about to come. So we'll continue this series of Poori Tarah Rato. And the thing about volatile topics is that you have to keep on revising them time to time till your exam so that you will be able to recall them better. Now we'll discuss today about inherited hyperbilirubinemia syndromes. So we have these four syndromes and a lot of questions has been asked on each of them. So we have to learn about each of them by heart. Now, we can broadly divide them into the syndromes which led to increase in unconjugated bilirubin and the syndromes which led to increase in conjugated bilirubin. So, Gilbert and Crigler-Najjar syndrome both leads to the increase in unconjugated bilirubin, while Dubin-Johnson and Rotor leads to the increase in conjugated bilirubin. So the basic pathology in Gilbert and Krigner-Najjar is there is defect in the conjugation, while in Dubin, Johnson and Rotor, there is defect in the release of the conjugated bilirubin into the bile duct. Now, if in the question there is increase in unconjugated bilirubin, then answer would be from either Gilbert or Krigner-Najjar. While if there is increase in conjugated bilirubin, the answer would be from Dubin, Johnson and Rotor. Now we have to differentiate between them. Now, coming on to the incidence. So, the most common amongst these is Gilbert syndrome. Gilbert syndrome is very common, although it's not at all fatal. While Krigler-Najjar 1 is very rare, but it is completely fatal. Krigler-Najjar 2 is also uncommon, Dubin-Johnson is also uncommon, and Rotor is also again very rare. Now, a lot of question has been asked on the gene affected. So, the gene in Gilbert is UGT1A1. In Krigler-Najjar, same gene is involved, but at a higher intensity. And in Krigler-Najjar 2, again, the same gene is involved. In Dubin-Johnson, MRP2 gene is involved, and a lot of question has been asked on this MRP2 gene. Now, in rotors, there is no gene not. Now, metabolic defect in Gilbert is there is decrease in bilirubin conjugation. But uh, it's a very minor decrease in bilirubin conjugation. So the bilirubin level would normally be less than 3. In Krigler-Najjar, there is no bilirubin conjugation at all. So it is a fatal disease. In Krigler-Najjar 2, there is moderate amount of bilirubin conjugation, decrease in bilirubin conjugation. So the difference between Gilbert CN1 and CN2 is the amount of decrease in bilirubin conjugation. In Dubin-Johnson, there is impaired canalicular export of conjugated bilirubin, and there is same defect in the rotor syndrome. Now, in Gilbert, plasma bilirubin would be less than 3 in the absence of fasting or hemolysis, and almost all unconjugated bilirubin would be raised. So it's not at all fatal. People lives with Gilbert syndrome और उन्हें पता भी नहीं चलता कि उन्हें Gilbert syndrome था. There would be slightly increase in the bilirubin levels like 2 to 2.5. तो उतने में पेशेंट को क्लिनिकल जॉन्डिस भी सस्पेक्ट नहीं होता. तो जब भी कोई प्रेसिपिटेटिंग फैक्टर होता है तब पता लगता है कि हाँ दे हैड Gilbert syndrome too. In Krigler-Najjar 1, the bilirubin levels can go up to more than 20, and usually it stays in the range of 17 to 50, and the all of the bilirubin is unconjugated because there is no conjugation at all. In Krigler-Najjar 2, it remains usually less than 20 and almost all unconjugated again. In Dubin-Johnson and Roters, it stays usually less than 7, and half of it would be conjugated and half of it would be non-conjugated. On histology, in Gilbert's, the histology would be usually normal. Occasionally, there is increase in the lipofuscin stain. In Krigler-Najjar 1 and 2, it would be normal. While the differentiating feature in Dubin-Johnson is that on histology, we can find coarse pigment in centrilobular hepatocytes, and black tarry liver on gross texture would be seen. While in rotors, again, it would be normal. Now, other distinguishing features would be in Gilbert, would be decreased bilirubin concentration with phenobarbital. And in Krigler-Najjar 2, again, there would be decreased bilirubin concentration with phenobarbital because phenobarbital increases the conjugation of the bilirubin. While in Krigler-Najjar 1, since there is no conjugation at all, there is no response to phenobarbital. In Dubin-Johnson's, there is increased bilirubin concentration with estrogen. That's why estrogen has to be avoided at them. There is very much increased urinary copper-ferrin 1 to 3 ratio and slow BSP elimination kinetics. While in rotors, again, there would be mildly increased urinary copper-ferrin 1 to 3 ratio and very slow BSP elimination kinetics without secondary rise. Prognosis wise, Gilbert has a normal prognosis. CN1 is fatal and death in infancy will occur if untreated. Crigler-Najjar 2 also usually normal, but precipitating conditions can really make them fatal. In Dubin-Johnson and daughters, again, it's normal. Treatment for Gilbert is none because the patients don't have any symptoms, we don't treat it. For Crigler-Najjar 1, we'll give phototherapy as a bridge to liver transplant. In Crigler-Najjar 2, we'll give phenobarbital. In Dubin Johnson's, we avoid estrogen, and for daughters, again, we don't need any treatment. So, if we summarize things, the most fatal is Crigler-Najjar 1, and death in infancy occurs if untreated. We have to give phototherapy and then we have to get a liver transplant. Differentiating features between Gilbert and Crigler-Najjar is the amount of bilirubin, amount of increase in bilirubin. While in Dibben Johnson and Rotor, the differentiating feature is one is the gene involved, that is MRP2 in Dibben Johnson. Another thing is pigmentation, that is there in Dibben Johnson. And third thing is increase coprophyrin 1 to 3 ratio, that is more in Dibben Johnson as compared to daughters. All the best.